This video contains everything you need to know and understand to become a profitable trader. This is the first of 2 parts and both videos will be pinned to the top of my page for easy access. If you are unprofitable at the moment and if you would ever become profitable, this video will play a vital role in your development. If you are an unprofitable trader, it means there's at least one thing you're yet to understand. For many, it's a lot of things, but there's 1 or 2 very important things you're yet to understand about Forex, and this video will provide solutions to those problems. You might not even be aware of them, but they contribute to why you're still not profitable despite all the effort. For a large percentage of unprofitable traders in FXNG and worldwide, your idea of what it means to be a profitable trader is based on a lie. Do not be discouraged by anything I say in this video. The idea is to show you the reality and erase any unrealistic expectations that you might have. Yes, it's very possible to make millions from Forex. Yes, Forex is not a scam. It's just a very technical business, and without the right information, it's the easiest way to destroy your life. But yes, there are people who actually make money from Forex, but a lot of things come first, and those are the things I believe you have to understand before you even dream of becoming profitable. I've been working on this video for well over 3 months. When the idea first came to my mind, I knew the amount of work I was signing up for. I shot over 5 hours of footage, but of course I had to trim down a lot of things to make this video as concise as possible. Now it's just like 1 hour 30 minutes long. At one point I decided to rebrand, but then I'd already recorded and edited like 4 hours with that filter I used to use. Then I removed the video, I left only the audio and the edits on the screen without my face in it. But you know, my face is not important, it's what I'm saying, and I would of course use graphics on the screen and whatever I can use to demonstrate what I'm talking about in practical examples. The difficult part was in articulating and demonstrating the ideas and concepts. That was the difficult part. It was not really the editing. Yes, the editing took several hours or days self, and the ideas were coming to me bit by bit. Some came weeks after, and I had to find a way to rope it into the main video. You know, how I was going to section the video. Those were the difficult parts of making this video. This video, like my other videos, is not going to be me just exposing and dragging fake mentors. I wouldn't delve too much into a particular strategy or anything like that. Those things come after. But without the understanding of the things I'm going to address in this video, nothing you do will work. You will always remain in that cycle of jumping from one mentor to another. You learn one thing, will be like say they work. Before month end, you are back at square one. No strategy, no ICT concept, no mentorship, no signal group. Nothing will work if this is not your foundation. If this is not how you are approaching Forex, nothing will work. You will just end up being scammed and tossed around. Before you even start talking about strategy this and strategy that, you need to understand these things. You have to start doing the real Forex first before you even dream of becoming profitable. And of course, I have dedicated a part of this video to addressing one of the most notorious characters in FXNG, Sabi Girl. There are many like her, but she's one of the most exaggerated, almost melodramatic. Sometimes I look at her claims and I just think, is this supposed to be a joke? Is this person expecting me to look at this thing and actually believe it? I don't understand this mass psychosis going on in FXNG, where someone who is clearly a scammer can get away with 10% of the rubbish they say and claim to do. Anyway, we'll get to that part later in this video. The reason why I've been hesitant to press as hard as I would like to and talk about as much as I would want to is because a lot of people were not ready for that kind of messaging yet, and that defeats the purpose of my videos. I'm not making videos just to antagonize everyone. My goal is to actually restructure FXNG and get rid of the rot and exploitation, but then I realized that I wasn't doing it in the most effective way possible. A 3-minute video most of the time is not enough for me to explain exactly why I'm saying the things I'm saying and all the nuances and layers of information you're going to have to know for whatever I'm saying to make sense to you. Nobody is trying to bring anybody down. This is why I always challenge anybody who I call out to come and prove me wrong. Why are they not taking up the challenge? I had to calm down and reason this thing. I had to slow down to make this video so that when that reach comes, I'll be able to deprogram as many people as possible. So if you want to start a career in Forex, or you have been trading for a while but you haven't experienced success, or you know someone who just got into Forex and has been talking about Forex before they fall deeply into the cult of Forex, send them this video. Before they start to make decisions that will ultimately destroy them, send them this video. Make out some time to watch this video. I promise you it will change the trajectory of your Forex journey. I'm going to say a lot of things that your brain will disagree with initially, but just make sure you watch this video till the end. All your doubts would be cleared. You'll start to see Forex the way you should see Forex. Like I said, yes, you can make millions of dollars from Forex, but there are things you have to understand first, and without the understanding of those things, no matter the amount of resources you have, you will end up like McAngel. It is inevitable. In case you're coming across my page for the first time, let me give a brief introduction. I created this page/identity to expose the rot and exploitation in the FXNG space. The journey started after I got one of the most notorious Forex scammers arrested in January of this year. Yes, I'm talking about Mullah Raymond.
The small phone. Give me the small phone. No, the small phone.
He came to limelight after getting a cosign from Jeffrey Benson. He claimed he was Jeffrey Benson's mentee. He claimed to have turned $300 to over $100,000, which was what got Jeffrey Benson to post him in the first place.
Bro, made $140,000 with my signals.
Signals today. I made over $100 million from my $300. What's $100 million? Bro, you just made $140,000. That's close to 200 million naira, bro.
But it was all a lie, as I documented and demonstrated after gaining access to Mullah Raymond's trading account. I was able to gain access to his trading account. All the results he used to post on Instagram back then were fake. And yeah, he's now a profitable trader. I checked all the details of the account. He had lost about $17,000, most of which was not his own money. Perhaps on discovering he was an untalented Forex trader, he decided to just start straight up running away with people's money. So once you send him money, he withdraws it and it's gone.
Just a boy that, look at him. This day afternoon, that he just from $300, he made this much. You see his account down, $322. And he made $140,000 from this day. That night, he bought a Benz. I'm like, man, what crazy is this? I was
I personally don't believe Jeffrey Benson knew he was a scammer. He was most likely also fooled by Mullah Raymond and posted him out of excitement, but this doesn't absolve him of all guilt and responsibility, as he should do his due diligence before promoting anyone, considering the kind of influence he has. I had to become a superhero and go into the world to stop this guy and his girlfriend, bro. Like, I had to take down Bonnie and Clyde because this guy destroyed a lot of people's finances. I never wanted to do content or engage in this kind of social media drama, but I see it as a responsibility. The idea to use a mask or filter in that my first video was a spontaneous idea. I didn't even plan to do this for so long, but the deeper I go, the more I realize that there's still a lot of work to be done. Now I've decided to rebrand to a more familiar face, but I still want to maintain my anonymity. Like I said, I see this as a responsibility, but I also want to be able to go back to my normal life whenever I choose. So after the arrest and expose, since then I've also helped a few people recover the money they were scammed out of by these fake mentors and other Forex bandits. And this is kind of what I've been known for in FXNG. But my primary goal is to demystify Forex so you don't get scammed in the first place and have to come to me to start dragging the fake mentor, having to go to the police or court, etc. There will still be dragging. In fact, the dragging will increase by 10 times now that this video has dropped. If you are ever going to become profitable, your idea of what a profitable trader is has to be based in reality, and this is what I hope to accomplish for you with this video. Let's set the benchmark for what is possible. I might explain a lot of things a lot of people might find basic, but I believe it's important to at least highlight these points in case there's anyone out there who doesn't know or hasn't fully grasped these concepts. According to statistics from brokers, regulators, and industry research, profitable retail traders make anywhere from 20 to 50% ROI per year on average. Now let me explain how the average is calculated. Let's say you have 5 different traders and you want to calculate the average return on investment they made. The first one made 70%, the second one made 53%, the third one made 5% ROI, the fourth one made 30% ROI, the fifth one made 50% ROI. You add all of them up, which will give you 260. Then you divide 260 by 5 because there are 5 participants. If they were 10, you divide it by 10. If they were 100, you divide it by 100. If they were 1000, you get, that's how you find the average. So you divide 260 by 5, which would give you 52%. So we can say the 5 of them made an average of 52% ROI. So the average doesn't mean one cannot do more than 50% ROI or have a great year and do even above 200% ROI. There would always be outliers, but realistically, most profitable retail traders would make anywhere from 20 to 50% ROI annually. Your return on investment is proportional to your capital. A 50% ROI on a $1,000 account is only $500, while a 50% ROI on a $1 million account is $500,000. This is pretty basic, right? Let's take a look at the FTMO leaderboard. Again, the whole point of doing this is so we can establish a benchmark for what is possible and realistic. This leaderboard shows the current state of the accounts with the highest ROI made. It is not based on a monthly or weekly performance. And what this means is that a lot of these accounts have been trading and accumulating their profits for months, weeks, who knows. There are a lot of reasons why traders want to do this just to appear on the leaderboard. It's social proof. Now you have your bragging rights and can display your elite trading skills in front of the world with concrete proof / evidence, etc. So with that being said, Here we see the number one in the all category. He's someone with a $300,000 account. He has done 66%, which on a $300,000 account is approximately $200,000. Number two is someone with a $200,000 account. So far, they have done 62%, which on a $200,000 account is $124,000, etc. Now let's look at those with 10k accounts. The number one is someone with a 10,000 euro account. He has done 38%, which on a 10k account is 3,844 euros. Then there's number two with 32%, number three with 31%. Now let's look at those with 100k accounts. Number one has done a 38% ROI, which on a 100k account is $38,000. Number two has done 35%, which is $35,000. Number three has done 33%, which is $33,000. Now let's see those with 200k accounts. Number one is the number two from the all category. Here he's number one on the 200k accounts list, and he has done 62% ROI, as we've already discussed. Number two has done 49%. Number three has done 37%. So these are the best of the best, the highest performing traders in the world on FTMO, or the highest performing traders on FTMO in the world. The main reason why there are different sections is to highlight those who are performing well but might have a smaller account. For example, someone whose strategy made 7k on a 10k account in 1 year is more profitable than someone whose strategy made 20k on a 200k account in the same time period. 20k is 10% of 200,000, while 7k is 70% of 10,000. This means that if the person with the 10k account had used their strategy on the 200k account, they would have made $140,000, which would be 70% ROI like they did on their 10k account. And if the person with the 200k account used their strategy on the 10k account, they would have made just $1,000, which is 10% of $10,000, which is also the 10% they made on their 200k account. What makes the difference is how much capital they started with. So while the guy with the $200,000 account who made $20,000 might have made more money than the person with the $10,000 account who made just $7,000, the person with the $10,000 account performed better. I hope this is all clear so far. The exact amount of what your 5%, 10%, 50%, etc. would be is based on your capital. If two people, one with a 10k account and the other with a 100k account, take the exact trades with the same risk management and the strategy returns 40% that year, the one with the 100k account would make $40,000, while the one with the 10k account would make $4,000. If the person with the 100k is risking 1%, that is $1,000. But the 10k account, 1% is $100. If the person with the 10k account decides to risk $1,000, like the person with the 100k account, the person with the 10k account is no longer risking 1% per trade. They are now risking 10% per trade. I'm going somewhere with all this. Now, someone might argue that there are restrictions, like you must not, trade more than 1%, etc. And this hinders how much they can make. Okay, I agree with you. They can do a lot more, but those restrictions are limiting them. Now let's take a look at another leaderboard. This one is in direct contrast with the FTMO leaderboard. This leaderboard is the World Cup Trading Championships, aka Robin's Cup leaderboard. If you've been in the trading space for a reasonable amount of time, you should know what the Robin's Cup is. But for those who don't, let me give a brief description. The Robin's Cup is basically a trading competition, the most popular trading competition. The goal is to see who can make the highest return on investment over a period of time. They calculate first quarter, second quarter, third, etc. and they announce winners at those stages. They also have the annual category where the person with the highest return on investment from January 1st till the end of the year would be declared the winner. There are no restrictions on strategy or risk management or whatever. The only requirement is that you have a minimum of $10,000 if you want to trade and compete in the futures category, and $5,000 if you want to trade and compete in the Forex category. So no restrictions. Do whatever you like, trade however you like, with whatever strategy you like, and by the end of the year or by the end of the first, second quarter, etc., the person who doesn't blow their account and makes the highest return on investment would be declared the winner. The goal is to trade in a way that maximizes your potential return on investment while remaining sustainable. They are trying to find the outlier of outliers. Let's look at the leaderboard. There are other categories, but these are the two main categories, the Forex and the Futures category. Let's focus on the Forex category. The leader so far in the Forex annual category has done 530% ROI. Remember, this is a competition where he's allowed to trade however he likes. So of all the professional, profitable traders who are trying to find a way to maximize their strategy in a way that gives them the highest return after 1 year so that they can win this competition, the best among them has done 530% from January 1st to November 5th, 2020. 25. What does this mean? If he has started with a minimum of $5,000, let's say you gave him that money at the start of the competition to help you trade the way you meet these account flipping scammers to trade for you, right? So you gave him the $5,000 and for some reason he agreed that, okay, he would trade it for you. It means that so far from January till now that he has been trading the account in a way that maximizes the potential ROI but also prioritizes risk management so he wouldn't blow the account, etc. He would have made a $25,150 profit, which is a 530% ROI on $5,000. And this will bring his balance to $30,150. If you had given him $500, he would be at $3,150 because 530% ROI on $500 is $2,150 and plus the $500 capital, altogether making $3,150. Even if he had done a 1000% ROI so far and he started with $500, that would only be a $5,000 profit. Total return $5,500. But if he had started with $100,000, he would have made a $503,000 profit, which is a 530% ROI on $100,000. And this will bring his total balance to $603,000. You know, you can do the rest. If he had started with 1 million, he would be at 6 million total. If he had started with 10 million, he would be at 60 million, and so on and so forth. This is the best so far this year. What I'm trying to say is for you to trade Forex in a way that is profitable and make big money, you need a substantial amount of capital because flipping is a scam. The idea, the concept of flipping is a scam. The average profitable Forex trader makes 30 to 50% ROI annually, which is wonderful news if you know what you are doing. So let's assume you are a profitable trader and you can make 50% ROI a year on average, which would be quite exceptional. If your starting balance is, let's say, $200,000, here's what your growth would look like at an average of 50% ROI a year for the next 10 years. Your total balance by the end of the 10th year would be $11,533,000 or $533,007. 50% a year is 4.1% a month on average. Anyone who can make 4.1% ROI a month on average year after year would be among the best of the best. How much your 4.1% would be depends on your capital. For some it will be $40, for some it will be $400, for some $4,000, for some $400,000, for some $4 million, etc. It all depends on how much capital you are trading with, which is why your goal should be to increase your capital and not your risk. If you have a strategy that makes you just 4.1% a month on average, you have the keys to generational wealth. But first, you need a substantial amount of capital. Anybody who is trying to sell you that dream of flipping is a scammer. Those making millions are trading with millions. Those making tens of thousands are trading with tens of thousands. Those making hundreds of thousands are trading with hundreds of thousands. And anybody trying to sell you that dream of small money to big money in a short amount of time is a scammer. It is not sustainable. It is not about what you can do in one trade. It is about what you can do consistently over time. That is what sustainable trading is, and only sustainable trading is profitable. Everything else will give you unsustainable profits here and there, but you would always end up at square one because what you are doing is not sustainable. You only have $500 and you hope to flip and flip and flip and flip and flip and make $50,000 in 1 month or 2 months or even in 6 months. That is unrealistic. That's a 9,900% ROI, which is not sustainable. Whatever capital you have, that is all the money you have together that you can invest in trading. Divide that money into two. That would be a 50% ROI. So for example, if the money you have right now is $1,000, a 50% ROI on that is $500. If making that amount in 1 year on your $1,000 capital is not enough for you, then you need more capital. Use the money to buy 200k prop firm accounts instead of trying to flip the $1,000. That is the best route for you if you're not able to get a substantial amount of capital from anywhere else. Unless you are okay with compounding for decades, it will take you 18 years to turn $1,000 to $1 million plus if you were making a 50% ROI on average annually. So why not start with $100,000 and do it in 6 years? Why not start with $200,000 and do it in 4 years? Why not work towards getting max funded with FCMO or any other prop firm, for example, so you can make $1 million plus in profits in 2 to 3 years, making 50% ROI a year. 4% a month is not the problem. The problem is that you are undercapitalized and a bunch of scammers are taking advantage of that to sell you false hope that can help you generate thousands of percent in ROI, but that thing does not exist and you guys are getting robbed in broad daylight. This is the reality. I know FX Ripper G has managed to convince a lot of people that he did the 999,900% ROI in 3 months, but as a lot of people have said and proven, it was faked, and the goal was to promote his trading bootcamp, which he launched immediately afterwards, because anyone who has the ability to make a 999 999,900% ROI in 3 months would be busy turning the $1 million to $1 trillion, which would also be a 999,900% ROI, and wouldn't have the time or any reason imaginable to set up a boot camp to expose their secrets to the world. It's just not possible. We'll get back to FX Ripper G later. Let me give you another example. Let's assume your favorite derivative flipping mentor is actually legit. Again, anyone trying to sell you that dream of flipping small money to big money and wants you to believe that this is how they've been doing it and making all these thousands of percent in ROI consistently over time, that person is a big thief. That person is a scammer. So in this scenario, let's assume the person is actually profitable. Let's assume the person has $1 million in trading capital. Let's assume the person tries to flip $500 per trade, and that is how they trade because, for some reason, your favorite derivative mentors keep flipping 400, 500 or a relatively small amount of money, even though they should have done enough flips by now and be at a point where they can risk like $100K on a trade to make $10 million or something like that. For some reason, they just keep flipping $400 and $500. Okay, whatever. So let's just say this one's own is that he keeps risking $500 per trade. Now, the chances of flipping $500 to even just $10,000 is quite low. There are 3 ways you can achieve that. Number 1, you can aim for a sniper entry where you over leverage or go full margin and hope the price does not go into even the slightest drawdown. Or you can have an entry zone where you open a few positions and continue adding more positions to it as the price goes higher or lower. The third way, and this is the least popular, is for you to open a position with a normal, what the average Forex trader will consider a normal stop loss, and then you have a long TP, which price wouldn't get to before hitting your stop loss most of the time, because $500 to $10,000 is a 1 to 20 RR. You don't catch a 1 to 20 every day or even once a week. So back to the point, doing $500 to $10,000 is quite difficult to achieve on its own, but let's assume this guy does $500 to $50,000. Remember, in this scenario, your favorite derivative flipper is actually profitable. So let's just assume this guy does $500 to $50,000 at least once a month, but on average, let's just say he loses 30 attempts, which is $15,000. So he loses $15,000 on average before he succeeds at flipping $500 to $50,000. If he's able to do this just once a month, he would make an average of $35,000 profit a month. He loses $15,000 and then he manages to do the $500 to $50,000 flip once a month. When you see the flip, to you, it is a 9,900% ROI because you are seeing it as $500 to $50,000. But for that mentor, it is only 3.5% ROI. Remember, they have $1 million total capital. That is all the money they can afford to invest in trading is $1 million. Again, we're assuming that your mentor is actually profitable. $35,000 of $1 million is 3.5% ROI, but you are seeing it as a 9,900% ROI. $500 is not all the money they have. They are only depositing $500 at a time to trade. When they eventually get it, they post it. You are seeing it as a 9,900% ROI. It's only 3.5% for that mentor. If you make 3.5% ROI on average per month in a year, that should be a 42% ROI, right? So at the end of the year, on the $1 million, they would make $420,000 profit, which would be a 42% ROI. It is 3.5% ROI for them because they are trading with $1 million. For that, your favorite mentor to actually do a 9,900% ROI, it means they have to turn their $1 million to $100 million. That is a 9,900% ROI for them, which is the same thing you are trying to achieve by trying to turn $500 to $50,000 because they showed you one isolated instance from all their trades where they managed to do it once. So even if that your favorite derivative flipper is profitable in this sense, you cannot repeat what they are doing because you do not have enough capital.
By the way, I just thought I should add this. Like, I'm not even in the slightest way trying to legitimize any of these guys. Anybody trying to sell you that dream of flipping is a big thief. Anybody who advertises flipping on derivative or flipping is a scammer. It's unsustainable at worst. It's an illusion at best. And for most of them, they are not even profitable. No matter how good it looks, no matter how they've shown it to you, there is nothing these guys are doing that Mullah Raymond did not do times 10. Mullah Raymond once withdrew 3 billion naira to his money point. So there is no evidence these people are posting that Mullah Raymond did not forge. So I'm telling you now, no matter how good it looks, it is not real. We'll still get to more parts where I demonstrate more, where I give more examples that would prove how unrealistic and implausible their claims are. Your mind might want to compensate you or comfort you by saying, okay, the person I've been believing for all this while is actually profitable, but I cannot repeat what they are doing because I don't have enough capital. But that person, no, that person is a thief. That person is not profitable. Yes,
you want to make 9,900% ROI in 6 months. It is not realistic. your favorite mentor is doing it in isolated instances and is showing it to you, but the equivalent of your favorite mentor actually doing a 9,900% ROI would be for him to turn the $1 million to $100 million. If anybody had such abilities, would they be pushing you up and down to do mentorship for you? Will they come and stand in front of whiteboard and be explaining higher low for you? You will not be able to pay for 1 minute of that person's time. How does that make sense? How does it benefit someone who can supposedly make thousands of percent in ROI on their own? How does it benefit that person to trade for another person? The normal reason for doing account management for an investor, for example, is because you can gain access to bigger capital. So if, for example, your capital is $100,000, you trade and you make an average of 30 to 50% ROI annually, someone with $1 million can approach you and say, help me trade this money. I've heard about you. You've shown me your track record, etc. It makes sense in that case because now you have the potential to make more money. 30 to 50% ROI on $1 million is way more than 30 to 50% ROI on $1,000. And then when you split the profits with the investor, you would make profits from there along with the one you would make on your personal account. So it is beneficial to both you and the investor. That is why it makes sense. But how does it make sense for someone who on his own can take $200 to $5,000 or $500 to $10,000 or $50,000, $1,000 to $100,000? I can repeat this process consistently over and over and over again. How does it make sense for that person? What do they stand to gain from that agreement? If at all, they have something to lose, because instead of trading for someone else and having to split the money 50-50 or whatever they agreed on, they can just continue using their own capital and making all the money in the world on their own. So how does it make sense? But every day they are shouting DM for account management. The real reason they do account management, despite apparently being the best traders in the history of man, is because the dream they are selling does not exist. It is a scam. It is an illusion. But with account management, they can gamble with other people's money. That is the idea. When they manage to flip in the few instances that they do, you both have to share the money. But when they blow your money, which they will 90% of the time, you would be the only one to bear the loss. They know that the system is not profitable, but they can still make money by lying to you and getting you to trust them with your own money, which they gamble recklessly, hoping it goes well. That is the whole point, because there is nothing to gain from account management for a person who is as good as these people claim to be. Or is your argument now that the person is just so good that they have that ability, but for some reason they just want to help other people trade? And is that what you want to tell me, that somebody can be on his own in his own room, just using his laptop or his phone, all these thousands of percent in ROI, but then they are just so good that they want to now help other people? Like, why would that kind of person be stressing themselves trying to trade for another person? It's not as if that person is even going to give them $1 million. If you carry $200, give many of these account flipping guys, they rush you for DM, say, guys, send login, I beg. Send login. How does it add up? What they are doing is not sustainable. I hope you get it now.
In Forex, unsustainable profits refer to those gains that appear impressive in the short term but are achieved under conditions that cannot be sustained. Over-leveraging, ignoring risk management, etc. Whatever profit you make trading that way, it is only a matter of time before you lose it back to the market. An unsustainable profit is one that grows fast, regardless of your capital. That is, your full capital is $20, right? And you turn it into $150 or $200 in one trade or in one day. Or you have $200 and you turn it into $1,000 or $2,000 in one trade or in one day. Or you have $10,000 and you turn it to $40,000. Or even if you have $100,000 capital and you turn it to $300,000 in a short amount of time, that is few hours, 1 day, 3 days, etc. This is an unsustainable profit. It is built on fragile foundations, either too much risk or just pure luck. Recently, someone said they started Forex with $50 and turned it into $5,000. My biggest question for people who make that kind of claim is, why did you stop at $5,000? Anybody who can turn $50 to $5,000 can turn $5,000 to $500,000, can turn $500,000 to $50 million, can turn $50 million to $5 billion. It's literally the same process. The same trade somebody would take to turn $1 to $10 is the same trade and the same number of pips somebody would take to turn $10 to $100, or to turn $100 to $1,000, or to turn $1,000 to $10,000, or to turn $10,000 to $100,000, or to turn $100,000 to $1 million, etc., etc. The only difference would be their lot size. So anybody who claims to have the ability or have the skill to turn $50 to $5,000 and wants you to believe that this is something they can repeat and it's something that is sustainable and this is how they've been making profits, why did you stop at $5,000? Why did FX Ripper G stop at $1 million after supposedly turning $100 to $1 million? Why did he not continue and turn the $1 million to $1 trillion? Because it's literally the same 999,900% ROI. So for those that do not know, or for those that are new to my page, FX Alex G is not a legit trader. In case you have not heard that one before, I've made several videos going into detail about all these things, but the quickest evidence I can present to you is the fact that the disclaimer is literally there in the description of his videos. Watch any video from the $100 to $1 million challenge. It's there in the description that this is simulated trading. This is not real. He had to put that disclaimer there because most people wouldn't read it, and it is there for him to avoid getting sued into oblivion. So when somebody sues him, he'll say, but the disclaimer is there. You know, people don't read terms and conditions. The $100 to $1 million in reality was just marketing to sell his set and forget course and sell the boot camp and sell whatever BS he brings out tomorrow and presents to you guys. That is not how Forex trading works. If he can turn $100 to $1 million, it means he can turn the $1 million to $1 trillion, right? Okay, don't even do 1 trillion. Turn the $1 million to $1 billion and you make way more money than you would ever make selling the set and forget or whatever course you are trying to sell. It's easier to turn $1 million to $1 billion than it is to turn $100 to $1 million. Why did FX Ripper G stop at $1 million? Like I said, it's just promotion for his set and forget or his bootcamp or whatever BS he decides to sell in the future. He owns the broker or he's very close to the people who own the broker. Those things can be edited from the back end. That is why you never saw him entering those trades in real time, etc. I've made videos about this. There are countless videos on YouTube about exposing FX Alex G. If you still believe in him, stop this video right now. Go and pay for a set and forget course. Come back in the next 5 years. Let's see where your life will be. And the crazy part is that every single time these people who claim to be gods of Forex have had the opportunity to actually display their skills in front of the world. I'm not talking about when they are trading on their own personal account, because like I've said, all those things can be edited from the back end. When they've actually had the opportunity to show their superior skills in front of the world, they always end up flopping. They always end up messing up. A good example is the Only Signals service he started. After 5 whole months, they had to shut down the program. And I know somebody will say, oh, it was that Sensei guy. It was not FX Alex G that made it. Like I said, it's all marketing. If it had gone well, FX Alex G would take the glory. Let's say after 5 months, he made 10% or 20% or something like that. He will say, look at me, I'm so good. That Sensei guy was there to take the blame in case the whole thing doesn't go well. It's all marketing. Think about it. Somebody who supposedly turned $100 to $1 million cannot even make 1% in 5 whole months when they had the opportunity to display their skill, where they had the opportunity to make you benefit from their skill. They flopped. Nobody is that good. Nobody can make those thousands of percent in ROI anywhere in the world. It's all marketing to sell whatever BS they bring up to you. It only takes 10 1-to-10s to turn 10 cents to $1 billion. 10 cents to $1, $1 to $10, $10 to $100, $100 to $1,000, $1,000 to $10,000, $10,000 to $100,000, $100,000 to $1 million, $1 million to $10 million, $10 million to $100 million, $100 million to $1 billion. It only takes 10 1-to-10s. So if anybody has the ability to make those huge returns on investment in a way that will be sustainable, they would be the richest person in existence and in the history of humanity. The first step to becoming a profitable trader is understanding the difference between unsustainable profits and sustainable profit. That's not what it means to be profitable at Forex. That is not how profitable traders make money from Forex. There is nobody anywhere in the world that is doing it like that.
By the way, I recorded this part much earlier than many of the parts that you have watched. This part was recorded in September.
Sustainable profits are those gains that can be repeated consistently over the long term without blowing your account, rather than relying on luck or excessive risk, which would give you unsustainable profits from time to time, as a lot of you have experienced, but ultimately it cannot be sustained. Let's take a look at the Robbins Cup Forex annual category winners list.
This list is not easily accessible online as most of the pages are archived, but you can use this prompt on ChatGPT if you would like to get it for yourself.
The highest ROI recorded in the Forex annual category was done by Lorenzo Messino in 2021 with 405.5% ROI. The highest ever recorded in the Forex annual category at the Robbins Cup is 405.5% by Lorenzo Messino. So where am I going with this? A few days ago, I opened Twitter And the first post I saw was from Sabi Girl. Just give me a few minutes and I'll demonstrate to you why everything she does or claims to do makes absolutely no sense. And remember, it is very easy for her or anyone I mention to prove me wrong. Let them take up the challenge. If you are new to my page, I don't know what the challenge is. We'll talk about that after this demonstration. In the post I'm referring to, she said, I made $16,000 profit just this week trading small accounts, less than $400 in total. Just key levels, market structure, directional bias, week after week, the same consistency, the same process, no over leveraging, no gambling, just patience, precision, and stacking at specific key levels. In a similar post at the end of last month, she said, be proud of yourself. Show us your best trade or your trade history for August. Mine, I flipped $500 to $16,000. Okay. In another one, she said, if you've ever wondered how I consistently turn $300 into $10,000 plus, here's how I do it and why most traders fail at flipping. So let's look at the claims. $400 to $16,000 is a 3,900% ROI. $500 to $16,000 is a 3,100% ROI. $300 to $10,000 is a 3,233% ROI. Okay. Remember, in the first claim, she said week after week, the same consistency, the same process, no over leveraging. First of all, how do you turn $400 to $16,000 without over leveraging? Anyway, no gambling. Okay. Just patience, precision, and stacking at specific key levels. So in essence, she wants you to believe that this is a process that can be repeated over and over again, right? That is, this is how I've been doing it week in, week out. She wants you to believe that she consistently does a 3,900% ROI week after week. Okay, let's not even say she does 3,900 every week. Let's say she just does half of that or quarter of that. She wants you to believe she can do that consistently week in, week out.
Okay, hold on. This is me from the future. I know I told you I recorded this one in September, but this one happened yesterday. That is all this girl is about. She sells this message of I don't lose, I flip money every day, all night. This was her response to it, which she said, I said it before, losses are not badges of honor, they are signals, signs that something in your process needs attention. Stop calling it part of the game when it's actually a reflection of inconsistency, lack of discipline, or bad strategy. Stop normalizing losses, normalize precision, normalize growth, normalize results. This girl has zero idea. Her entire persona, all she sells, all she preaches is that she does not lose. She has been on a winning streak for the last 464 million years. That's who this girl is.
If you can do a 3,900% ROI, starting with just $400, in 6 weeks, you will become the richest person in the history of humanity.
So I would answer as many questions I think your mind would be posing to you, or your mind would be using as a defense if you really believe in this girl. I would answer all those questions with different scenarios. But this first scenario, let us just assume there are no restrictions. I will talk about the derivative restrictions. I know you guys will say, oh, there's a limit to how many positions you can open, all that kind of stuff. I will show you how, if anybody can actually make a 3,900% ROI week after week, they would be more or less unstoppable, regardless of the restrictions imposed on them. So just pay attention.
So in the first cycle, if it's possible for somebody to do a 3,900% ROI, you start with $400, you go $400 to $16,000. It's a 3,900% ROI. Now you have $16,000. If you can repeat that same 3,900% ROI, you will turn $16,000 to $640,000 by the second week. Again, turning $400 to $16,000 is the same thing as turning $16,000 to $640. The difference would be lot size. Again, like I said, I know your mind will be telling you about, oh, derivative has this limits, that's why. We'll get to that. So if you can repeat the same thing on the third week, you will turn that $640,000 to $25,600,000. That is a 3,900% ROI. Turning $400 to $16,000 is the same thing as turning $640,000 to $25,600,000. It's the same thing. It's not harder to turn $640,000 to $25 million than it is to turn $400 to $16,000. It's the same process. It's the same trades. The only difference would be the lot size, right?
So by the 4th week, if you can repeat that 3,900% ROI or anything close to it, you would have surpassed $1 billion and you'd be at $1,024 million. By the 5th week, you would have turned $1,024 million to $40,960 million. And then by the 6th week, you would have turned that $40,960 million to $1,638,400 million. If it's possible for anybody in this world to achieve a 3,900% ROI on anything, it is not sustainable. So let's make it easier now. I know you guys will say, oh, derivative has a limit. There's a maximum amount of positions you have open. Let me first show you how almost impossible it will be for somebody to not make money if they actually have the ability to make a 3,900% ROI consistently. Okay, you've turned $400 to $16,000, right? Divide $16,000 into 20 places. That will give you $800. Now you have $2,800, or $800 divided into 20 places to give you 20 opportunities. That's every week. You can take 20 trades, or you have 20 opportunities. I don't know if you flipped the $400 to $16,000 in one trade or you did it in multiple trades, but whichever one it is, you will now have 20 opportunities in 1 week to repeat that same process over again. Just key levels, market structure, directional bias, week after week, the same consistency, the same process. Now you have 20 opportunities. Just repeat that thing that you did to turn $400 to $16,000 that you claim you can do consistently. Divide the $16,000 into 20 places. Now you have $800. Just repeat that process one more time with 20 opportunities. Just do it once again that week. So even if your strategy has just a 5% win rate, again, I want to demonstrate to you how almost impossible it will be to not make money. So even if your strategy has just a 5% win rate, that's out of those 20 opportunities, only one. You can only do it once out of 20. That means your strategy has a 5% win rate. In 7 weeks, you would have crossed $1 million. In 17 weeks, you would have crossed $1 billion. And in 27 weeks, you would have crossed $1 trillion. $400 to $16,000, right? That's a 3,900% ROI. You divide $16,000 into 20 places. Now you have $800 in 20 places. Just repeat the process one more time. And after you do the 3,900% ROI, you have $32,000. You divide $32,000 into 20 places, which will give you 1,600. And then you continue like that. You would first cross $1 million in 7 weeks, $1 billion in 17 weeks, and $1 trillion in 27 weeks. Okay, let's say the limit is that when you get to 1,600, the most you can do is 1,600 to $64,000. After that one, you are not allowed to go higher than that. They won't let you open more positions, blah, blah, blah. So you can only stop at number 3. That's after flipping $400 to $60,000. You divide it by 20. Then you flip the $800 to $32,000. Then you divide it by 20. You now get 1,600. Let's say that 1,600 derivative says, okay, we won't allow you open more positions than what this money can take and this ROI or whatever limit you claim there is. If that's the case, she can simply get her family members to open more accounts with derivative. Yeah, you can have at least 3 accounts. The normal account, then there's the swap free account, then there's the zero spread account. Just open those 3 different accounts, link all of them with a copy trader. Let's just say you can find one other person. Just get 3 extra accounts to repeat the same process on. That is the $1,600 to $64,000. $1,600 in 4 places is $6,400. Remember, Derek said, oh, there's a limit to will not allow you open more than so and so positions. This $1,600 is the highest you can do. Now, if she actually has the ability to make it 3,900% ROI, all she would have to do is to just copy trade across 4 different accounts.
So let's just assume she can only get 4 accounts. Of course, she can copy trade across way more than 4 accounts. But for this scenario, you will see how crazy it will still be even if she could just copy trade across only 4 accounts.
So $1,600 in 4 places is $6,400. If she can repeat that process of making a 3,900% ROI on the $6,400 shared across 4 different accounts, she would make $256,000 every week, because she said it's week in, week out, back to back, consistency, blah, blah, blah. $256,000 every week. In 4 weeks or in 1 month, that would be $1,024,000. If she was actually as good as she claims to be, why not just do that? Like, I'm not saying you can't make $1 million from Forex, but I'm telling you, do you think anybody starts with $25,600
and has the ability to make a 3,900% ROI, because that's what this girl is essentially claiming to do. I don't know why they keep focusing on $400 to $16,000 when $400 to $16,000 is the same thing as $25,600 to $1,024,000.
Whether she did the $400 flip in one trade or multiple trades, whatever she did, let her just repeat it again. She's the one claiming that it is sustainable. So however she did it the first time, let her just repeat it. It's the same thing, just double your lot size or copy trade across multiple accounts. If she can do $400 to $16,000 consistently the way she wants you to believe, whether it is in one trade or she traded the $400 throughout the week and was risking $40 or risking 10%, risking whatever she did to turn the $400 to $16,000 that she claims to be able to repeat over and over again, let her just double the $400 to $800 and then flip it to $32,000 instead. Then divide $32,000 into 20 places, which will be 1/6, and repeat the 3,900% ROI again on that one.
Now, if you get to a point where Derry says, okay, there's this limit, this is the most we can allow you to do, take that $1,600, put it in 4 different accounts, do copy trading on all 4 of them. Now you have $6,400. Repeat that 3,900% ROI that you claim to be able to do on that $6,400. It means you'll be making $256,000 every week. And in 1 month, that would be $1,024,000. That is, you use $25,600 to make $1,024,000 every month. Do you believe that? Does that make sense? Because that's essentially what this girl is claiming to be able to do. Does that sound realistic?
So with these claims, it's either she's the best Forex trader in history or she's a scammer. There is no in between. If anybody was actually this good, they would just connect like 100 accounts, 1,000 accounts, 10,000 accounts and copy trade across those 10,000 accounts and bankrupt Deriv. Why are you always doing $400 to so and so? Why not do $400,000 to so and so 100 million? If you reach any limit on Deriv, copy trade across multiple accounts. Because now you first do Forex.
The reason why she's doing $400 and using all this small money is to sell you that illusion of, come, you don't need big money. You see how I'm only using this to turn this small money to big money. That's the understanding of what it means to be profitable. She's trying to sell to you that the best of the best Forex traders in the world, you can give them $500 and they will turn it to $16,000 for you, and they have that ability and can repeat this thing consistently over and over and over again. Right? That's the dream she's trying to sell you. But then why are you doing $500 to $16,000? Why are you stuck at $500 to $16,000? You are losing back-to-back trades because you keep entering right at the inducement liquidity. Take a look at the template below. You will see clearly most of the losses could have been avoided with this approach. And this is the kind of person I make videos for. So under this post, somebody responded and said, with all due respect, you come here to post while most of your students from your February so-called mentorship are struggling. You have a dead group, no fruit. You guys come here to say a mentor takes you to your goal faster. You post without clarity. Then somebody responded and said, so why ain't they speaking up? Is that what you think? Some have started paying for another different mentorship. Even to the mentor that taught her. Who taught her? Toby, he is good. But there are some people that are not good at teaching. She can trade, but to teach, she's nowhere near that. How can you communicate well when you have over 1K students in just one program? At the end, some are going to pay the Toby because they don't understand. This guy does not even realize what has happened. He's still in La La Land, chilling with the Teletubbies and Barney and shit. She can trade, but to teach. If only she could teach. If only she could teach. Maybe you say for now, if you don't turn $100 to $4,000, then $4,000 you can't do $3,000. If only she could teach.
The problem is not really that she cannot teach. The problem is that what she's trying to sell to you does not exist. So no matter what she says, it's not really going to make sense. And then you guys will continue gaslighting yourself, because I see that stuff happen a lot. It's like a social contagion where you just keep gaslighting yourselves. So no matter what that kind of person tells you, it will never make sense. Even if they sound like they know what they're talking about, even if it sounds like they're teaching you something that's going to work, in your experience, in your forward testing, after doing every single thing they've told you to do, and you see that this stuff is not working out, the way this person is posting on social media is not the way this thing is happening in their Telegram group chat, it's not the way this thing is happening in real life, that is when you might come to the realization that you have been scammed. But for many, they will continue gaslighting themselves that it's because of their psychology and because of there's one hidden knowledge that they don't understand yet, and there's one final piece, and you wonder why you are unprofitable. What you are looking for does not exist. The problem is not that she cannot teach.
You know how stupid I will look if Sabi Girl can just come out now and take up the challenge. For those of you that are new to my page, if you don't know what the challenge is, well, if anybody wants to prove me wrong, one way is they can send their investor password. An investor password is an MT5 login that when you use to, log into the MT5 account, you would not be able to modify anything. You would only be able to view. It's called read-only password. So you wouldn't be able to place any trades, modify the stop loss, take profits. You wouldn't be able to do anything. You would just be able to view whatever is happening on the account. If there's a trade open, the profits, loss, whatever. So for their main derivative account where they have been doing all this flipping for all these years, let them send the investor login. That is all it will take to invalidate everything I've said in this video. I'm not saying it because she owes me personally any explanation. Me, I already know what she is. But if you want to pay for this person's services, I've already shown you why what they are claiming to do now does not make any sense. It's left for this person to come and prove me wrong and say, oh yeah, we'll take the investor login, go and check it for yourself. If she can do that thing, I will delete my page. Let her send the investor login. Let us see the ROI for all the years that she has been doing all these flipping things. Let us see the thousands of percent in ROI she has done all together. If she can do that, that is all it will take to prove me wrong. Anybody who is too big to take up this challenge should be too big to be charging money for anything. You are offering a service that doesn't make any sense. You are offering a service that many people are beginning to realize is a fairy tale. Now it is up to you to show everybody that you are really who you claim to be. You posting screenshots is not proof of anything. You posting how many times have I made videos about how easy it is to fake all these things? I'm just giving you reasons why you should reconsider some of the things you believe because I see these things every day. I don't know why it's not obvious to you guys. But like I said, you know how foolish I would look if Sabi Girl can just come out now and take up this challenge and prove me wrong. I will delete my page. Let's just say she doesn't take up the challenge. Let me put this challenge to every Sabi Girl mentee. If one Sabi Girl mentee can send their investor login for their derivative, and in the past 6 months, that is they've been trading for the last 6 months, and in the last 6 months, that person has done 2,000% ROI. Just 2,000. With all this flipping and all these things that she must have taught you, you should be able to do like at least 100,000% ROI in 6 months. But if you've done just 2,000 in 6 months, so I didn't say what you did in one day. I didn't say show me any flip. Anybody can do anything in one trade. Anybody can do anything in one day. We're talking about what is sustainable long term, which is the only thing that is profitable. So if one Sabi Girl mentee can just come, send the investor login, we check the trade history, or I check the trade history and I can see, okay, this person has traded on this account for at least 6 months. It can be 1 year, it can be whatever. For the past 6 months, with all your deposits, all your trading, overall, you've done 2,000% or more. All the dairy flippers we know in FXNG, if you are one of their mentees and you've studied under them and you are doing this flipping, that you've been trading like that, they taught you the strategy for the past 6 months, you've been flipping and flipping and flipping. Send your investor login, just one person out of all the mentees. If the mentors no one come out, just one mentee. Send your investor login. Let's see the thousands of percent in ROI you've been able to do. No, nobody is trying to pull you down. If anybody is going to respond to me, just take up the challenge. I don't want to hear anybody is trying to pull you down. If what you are doing actually does not exist and I'm right, you are pulling hundreds and thousands of people down. We are not here for all this sentimental talk. If you're going to respond to this video, just take up the challenge. Nobody wants to hear anybody wants to pull you down. I'm just a passerby who notices some discrepancies and unrealistic results from somebody who is charging money to teach other people what I understand to not exist. So I have given reasonable arguments for why this person, this character, is a red flag. Now let's get into how money is made from Forex. Forex is a game of probabilities. Probability is the measure of how likely an event is to occur. When you say this thing has a high probability of happening, it means it is more likely to happen than not. The way unprofitable traders trade, the probability of you achieving anything substantial long term is more or less zero. To become profitable, you need to position yourself and flip the script in a way that the odds are now in your favor. Sustainable profits come from consistent series of trades over time, not one trade, not $100 to $1,000 flip. Let's just establish this fact. It takes absolutely no skill to get a winning trade. Somebody can start Forex today and their first trade would be a winning trade that will go in profits. So it doesn't take any skill
skill to get a winning trade. You can press buy or sell and have a winning trade, right? But just because you have a winning trade doesn't mean you are profitable. These are isolated wins. It doesn't mean anything. The ones doing, thank you, your signal show, I did $100 to $300, I did $100 to $500. All of those people would eventually lose their money. Making money from Forex is not about guaranteed wins on every trade or most trades. It is about stacking the odds in your favor over many trades. First, let me read out the 5 fundamental truths according to Mark Douglas in his book. This is the book right here. I might have to flip this over. It's called Trading in the Zone, very popular. Mark Douglas was a trader, he was an investor, and the author of several trading books, one of the top Forex traders of all time. He was famous for popularizing the idea of trading psychology. All these things you hear about trading psychology, this and that, most of those ideas came from Mark Douglas. His goal was to teach that consistent success comes from a probability-based mindset, treating trading like a business with a statistical edge and controlling emotions to avoid making mistakes, like needing to be right on every trade. There is one big misconception a lot of traders have, especially newbies. They think that to be profitable, you need to be right all the time or most of the time. But in reality, a lot of top Forex traders have an average and sometimes below average win rate. It is possible to actually be profitable with a win rate that is less than 20%. There's one quote by Bill Lipschutz that echoes this sentiment. By the way, Bill Lipschutz is like top 5 Forex traders of all time, one of the most successful fundamental traders of all time. He said, I don't think you can consistently be a winning trader if you are banking on being right more than 50% of the time. This is very important. He said, you have to figure out how to make money being right only 20 to 30% of the time. Let me read out the 5 fundamental truths according to Mark Douglas. Right, so this is on page 136. The 5 fundamental truths according to Mark Douglas. Number 1, anything can happen. Very important. All these claims about I just do this thing with market structure, with is BS. Number 2, you don't need to know what is going to happen next in order to make money. Number 3, there is a random distribution between wins and losses for any given set of variables that define an edge. Number 4, an edge is nothing more than an indication of a higher probability of one thing happening over another. The 5th fundamental truth is every moment in the market is unique. What this means is that, for example, when you see a head and shoulders pattern or a double top or a double bottom, what caused the previous head and shoulders pattern? The traders that were active in the market, the fundamental things that influenced the way people decided to buy or sell, whatever caused the previous head and shoulders pattern is not the same thing that caused the next one. Every moment in the market is unique. It's just that some patterns form over and over again. But what caused this pattern to form and so time can never, all the instances, all the traders, all the variables that made things turn out the way they turned out can never be the same. It can form the same pattern on the chart, but the catalysts for both instances are completely unique.
The level of one trade, anything can happen. Anything. It only takes one idiot somewhere in the world to totally stuff your position. Remember vividly, Tom and I were trading online a lifetime ago. Again, when Skype was new, and we were talking online, and I went into an oil position, and within a few minutes, half an hour, I was up £5,000 in that position. It was good money. This is nearly 20 years ago. I was feeling so flush. I went out to the kitchen and I brewed up a big pot of tea, Earl Grey, and I threw all those Presbyterian principles away. I put in an extra tea bag. I was feeling really flush. I came back, my £5,000 was gone, and my £1,500 stop loss was gone. I hadn't brought the stop loss up. Some idiot had blown up a pipeline in Nigeria. Until you can predict an idiot who's about to blow up a pipeline, you don't know what's going to happen next, folks. You really don't. So to have an expectation that you know what's going to happen next in this environment is just crazy. Nobody knows what's going to happen next.
If there's any mentor anywhere in the world that can say, oh, I have this strategy, I know this thing, I have this setup that once you see this thing, this is definitely going to happen and I can assure you with 100% certainty, let them risk all their money on that trade. Let them go and sell everything they have and put it on that one trade, if that is how making money from Forex works, or if they are that good. So keep that in mind. Let's take the example of a coin. A coin flip has 2 possible outcomes. It can either be heads or tails, each with a 50% probability. A coin flip is a fair random event where the outcome of each flip is independent of previous flips. That is, whatever happened in the last flip does not affect what's going to happen
in the next flip. The same way you can't say, oh, because I lost the last trade or because I lost the last 3 trades in a row, that means I will definitely win this next trade. I used to see comments like that from time to time on Twitter where somebody will say, you need a strategy that can assure you at least 1 win in 3 trades. There is no such strategy. Nobody knows. Anything can happen. Even a strategy that has an 80% win rate, it's still possible for you to lose 3 trades in a row in a series of 100 trades. And those 3 losses can come in the first 10 trades. It can happen at any time. So as I was saying, a coin flip has 2 possible outcomes, heads or tails. The outcome of each flip is independent of previous flips. There is no way you can predict with 100% certainty what will happen on the next flip, but there is a thing called the law of large numbers in probability theory. The law states that as the number of trials, in this case, coin flips, because we are flipping coins for the experiment, as the number of trials increases, the outcome would approach the expected probability. For a fair coin, the expected probability is 50% for heads and 50% for tails. So as the number of flips increases, the number of heads and tails should approach 50-50. So for example, if you flip a coin 10 times, you might get 6 heads and 4 tails, which is not perfectly balanced, right? 10 flips is not enough sample size for this experiment. But if you flip it 100 times, 1,000 times, let's say 1,000 times, for example, right, you will get something like 506 heads and 494 tails, which is much closer to a 50-50 split. 506 out of 1,000 is 50.6%, while 494 is 49.4%. So while short sequences of flips might result in uneven numbers, for example, 7 heads and 3 tails in 10 flips, over a large number of flips, 100, 1,000, 10,000, the number of heads and tails will be very close to. When I first learned these facts, I said, I decided to carry out this experiment by myself. I didn't use a coin. I didn't have a coin. I used a die instead, singular for dice. But I divided it into 2. If the die lands on anywhere from 1 to 3, I would consider that heads. Then from 4 to 6 will be tails. So I've more or less divided the die into 2 parts. 1 to 3 is heads, 4 to 6 is tails. In order to run this experiment, let me look for the book I used in writing down the results of, because I did 10 sets of 100 flips, round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4, round 5, round 6, all the way to 10, each with 100 rolls of the die. This was done a long while ago. If you look here, you see this book is like old. So you can see right here, this is the experiment. You can see all the rounds. This was round 2, round 3, round 4. After those 10 rounds, which is a total of 1,000 rolls of the die, I know I had so much time on my hands. Heads was 494, which is 49.4%, which is the same number I used when I was giving the instance a while ago. It was from this experiment I got those numbers. Heads was 409, while tails was 506. 409 out of 1,000 is 49.4%, while 506 is 50.6%. So you see, despite the fact that I could not have said at any one point in time that, oh, the next roll of the die will land on heads or will land on tails, there were times where I got like 5 heads in a row, 5 tails in a row, 3 heads in a row, 3 tails in a row, 1 head, 1 tail. All I knew was that after a large number of rolls of the die, both heads and tails should approach the 50-50 mark. I could not have said this is what is going to happen next. I've gotten 4 heads in a row. The 5th one is definitely going to be a tail. No, the 5th one can still be heads. The same way you can still get 5 losses in a row. I'll explain how this relates to Forex, but if you want to do this experiment yourself, if you can get a coin or a die, then if you have enough time, it doesn't take that long. It doesn't take as much time as you might think. If you can't do 1,000, maybe just do 200 and see what the results would be. Now, how does this relate to Forex, right? Because the Forex markets are not as purely random. They are influenced by fundamental and technical factors. So the 50-50 balancing out is less predictable, but it doesn't have to be as predictable because we do not need a 50-50 split between wins and losses to be profitable. This is where risk to reward comes in. There are 3 main factors involved in everything I'm saying. The first is risk management. No strategy survives without risk management. Having an 80% win rate doesn't mean you are going to get 80 wins first before you get 20 losses, right? Or you get 8 wins first before you get 2 losses out of 10 trades. The 2 losses can come at any time. Out of those 100 trades, the 20 losses will be distributed randomly. That's why risk management is important. So the first and most important is risk management. The second is risk to reward. And the third is win rate. So for this explanation, let's consider the second factor, which is risk to reward. It is risk to reward that enables you to make profits despite the possibility of having a low or average win rate. A 1 to 2 risk to reward is you basically saying, for every loss, I get -1. For every win, I get +2. I'm going to let this thing play out over a series of trades over a period of time. With a 1 to 2 risk to reward, even if you have a 30 3% win rate, you will be at break even. With a 1 to 3, with a 25% win rate, you will be at break even. With a 1 to 7, with a 12% win rate, you will be at break even. With a 1 to 9, with a 10% win rate, you will be at break even. With a 1 to 10, with just a 9% win rate, you would be at break even. And as the number of trades continues increasing, the win rate required to make, for example, 10% or a certain percent would reduce. So if you are using a 1 to 2 risk to reward, right, for you to make 10% after 10 trades, you will need a 65.6% win rate. But for you to make 10% after 100 trades with a 1 to 2 risk to reward, you would only need a 36.9 or approximately a 37% win rate to make 10% after 100 trades. But like I said, I was going to fact check myself. So let me ask ChatGPT. Perhaps I should screen record this one and add it. So let me say, is it true that a lot of top Forex traders have average or below average win rates, sometimes as low as less than 20%? Let me add hedge funds, right? Let me just say top Forex traders and hedge funds. So, let's just include those. So let's see what ChatGPT has to say. Yes, that's absolutely true and very counterintuitive. Many top Forex traders, hedge funds, and quantitative trading firms have low win rates, sometimes below 30%, and in some specialized strategies, even below 20%. Here is why. Number one, win rate does not equal profitability. That's what that sign means, like equal then slash the equal. That means does not equal. So win rate does not equal profitability. The win rate, which is how often a trader is right, doesn't matter nearly as much as the risk to reward, how much they make when they are right versus how much they lose when they are wrong. Trader A wins 80% of trades but only makes $1 for every $4 lost. Trader B wins 20% of trades but makes $10 for every $1 lost. Over a series of trades over a period of time, you will never be profitable trading like that. You guys should not be focused on the dollar amount that is showing on their screens when they show you all those MT5 screenshots. If you had as much capital, or if you are trading on a demo account as many of them, you would also have those big figures. But those big figures, because I always see people make the argument that, oh, he's trading with big capital, so with every small movement he's making big money. With every small movement he's also losing big money. If your risk to reward is trash, after a series of trades over a period of time, you will end up blowing your account. Risk to reward is very important. Number two, many professional and hedge fund strategies are asymmetric. Top traders often use trend following momentum or breakout systems where most trades are small losses or scratches. A few trades capture massive moves that make all the difference. Many trend following funds, like those in the CTA or managed futures space, have win rates between 20 to 40%. But when a big trend hits, for example, this recent gold bull run, like in currencies, oil or bonds, the profits are huge.
Would you therefore say your win rate or accuracy rate is not as important as your risk to reward per trade?
Well, clearly, I'd show you a system that wins 95% of the time and loses money. So, yeah, winning is important because we all like to be stroked and feel like I'm doing something good here. It's hard to be right 30% of the time, and which a lot of the trend followers are.
So number three, examples from real performance data. Bill Dunn or Dunn Capital, I don't know if it's Dunn or Dunn. Another long-term trend followers have historically had win rates under 35%, but multi-decade annual returns over 20 plus in some years. By the way, these are hedge funds. I've explained that for hedge funds, there's a limit to scalability. And when you see all these 20% annually, that 20% can be billions or hundreds of millions of dollars. So number two, Turtle Traders, Richard Dennis's group had around 30 to 40% win rate, yet made millions because winners were 5 to 10 times larger than losses. Renaissance Technologies, also known as Medallion Fund, has an unknown exact win rate, but their risk-adjusted edge and position sizing imply many small losses and rare outsized wins. Number four, many quant hedge funds like DE Shaw, AQR, etc. operate on high volume, low win rate statistical edges. They focus on expectancy, not win rate. What matters is expected value per trade, EV. As long as that number is positive, so even if win percent is equal to 20%, the system is profitable. Example, win rate 20%, average win plus 1,000, average loss minus 100. EV, also known as expected value per trade, even losing 8 out of 10 times, the trader makes $120 per trade on average. So in short, low win rates does not equal bad trader. Consistent risk management, asymmetric payoffs, trade-offs and positive expectancy make the difference. Many of the best traders lose often but lose small. So everywhere you see an X, you see these are small losses, small losses, small losses, small losses. Then one win jumps up, small losses, small losses. This is a 20% win rate, but every loss is just a tiny bit, 1%, 1%, 1%, 1%, 1%.
So enough talking, let me show you practically, in forward testing, back testing, a sample of one of such strategies that I have. I just have different systems like this, but this is one of the more interesting ones. Very low win rates, which is expected for the kind of RRs I aim for. And this is over the course of 8 months. Like I said, it's a swing trading strategy. Here I only took 35 trades, but I also backtested the strategy over the course of 3 years, since I couldn't be too sure from just the 35 trades. The stats from here are more reliable because the sample size is greater. Yeah, but the system is profitable despite the win rate. It is also the strategy I used in phase 1 and phase 2. I know I only posted phase 2, but we'll go through the analytics of my phase 1 and you'll finally understand what I meant by phase 1, we won't take my life. So over the course of 8 months, it returned over 100%, and in the course of 3 years, it did over 400%. So I'm still trying to tweak it to adjust to a certain type of market condition. You can see the first few months, they were rough. Yeah, but ultimately the system is profitable, right? That's all that matters. So now let's take a look at my phase 1 analytics. Initially, I had not decided what strategy I was going to use for this one. I was scalping at first, just basically using the account to forward test one strategy, and so when I was up like only 2.5% after almost 70 trades, I risked 0.5% on prop firms, and I would explain why shortly. Very important. But yeah, I just switched to my swing trading after trying the scalping thing for a while, and it was just a real life demonstration of more trades doesn't equal more money or more profits. I don't even like being in front of the chart for longer than necessary, so swing trading is more my style. So I decided to switch to swing trading after a while, and this was also around the time I started updating the progress of the account on my story. Like I said, I only posted the phase 2 where I passed in one trade because, it's natural to want to show the highlights more. Subconsciously or unconsciously, you just tend to post the highlights more than the less than highlights. Let me just put it like that. Not low lights, but less than highlights. But yeah, so I only posted the phase 2. It also kind of makes it look like I was just lucky. It's just like, I was just lucky to pass this thing. But nah. This had nothing to do with luck. Here we see the analytics for phase 1. You cannot possibly take almost 90 trades where you have just a 30% win rate and not blow the account, and not just not blow the account but also make the 10% required. Luck cannot take you through these many trades with this win rate. The market conditions I faced at the start, 90% did not survive it, but I went through all that, still risking my 0.5%. Yeah, I know my Sharpe ratio is kind of messed up. The 600 is supposed to be 0.5 because I actually risked 0.5 all through, but there were times towards the end I was doing some freaky just so I could round up and be done with the phase 1 because it took almost 2 months. Anyway, I had it all under control. Risk management was always top priority. And I didn't post this one though. The phase 2 came, and this is very important. The same strategy that took almost 2 months to make 10% made 5% in 1 day on the first trade in phase 2. In fact, that 5% was actually 10% on my personal account. I risked 0.5% on prop firms, but on my personal account, I risked 1%. And this was a 1 to 10. But a 1 to 10 risking 0.5% is 5%. So I made the 5% on the first trade in phase 2, and I passed phase 2 in 1 trade. And like I said, a lot of people would have seen that and thought it was luck. But if I didn't survive phase 1, I would have never made it to phase 2. If I did not have the skills, the discipline, the confidence, because I'm using a system that I've backtested and I know well and know how to adjust in different market conditions, I have forward tested it on my own personal trading and all that, etc. But with all that, my system survived and I made it to phase 2. And I was lucky, right, in quotes, that my first trade was a win, but at the same time had nothing to do with luck. If I didn't manage my risk through the ups and downs, I would have blown my account before this kind of move. And even if I hadn't blown the account, I would have lost so much money by then that this kind of trade wouldn't mean anything. Imagine you've lost like 80% of your capital and then you do a 1 to 10 and make 10%. It still wouldn't mean that much because now you've lost 70% of your account. You haven't made anything yet. So no, it was not luck. Stop banking on luck to trade. Luck and hope can never take you anywhere in Forex. You have to know what you are doing. Now, I'm not saying you must use a strategy that has a low win rate or
or you cannot have a high win rate. It all depends on your strategy. The reason why the win rate for this strategy is very low is because I am trying to catch those aggressive breakout moves while keeping my stop loss as tight as possible. So it takes some precision. I already have my confluences. I have some fundamental factors that I consider, which makes it harder when I'm backtesting, because then I have to do some research and go back in time and see what's the overwhelming sentiment at the start of each month, especially for when I backtested it 3 years. So I had to see what the overwhelming sentiment was at the start of each month, stuff like that. So I'm not saying you have to use a strategy that has a low win rate, but a low win rate doesn't mean the strategy does not work, and a high win rate does not mean the strategy is even profitable to begin with. But there's something I just feel like it's supposed to be common knowledge, but I have to just mention that it's normal. So if we look at the performance here, you can see in the first 2 months, -4, which is actually very normal. Yes, it is normal for top hedge funds and top Forex traders and whoever it is that is trading to be down, for example, 4% in January and -4. Let me just fact check myself. Okay, so here's the question I asked ChatGPT. You can pause to read. This is the prompt and you can see the response. Just pause to read. I know all this information might sound weird. It's also one of the reasons I risk 0.5% on prop firms. That's why I don't understand tweets like this. So this is me from the future. I decided to just hop in and clarify this thing. There are different ways to trade prop firms. There's a business model where if you have like 10k dollars or 20k dollars, you can buy multiple prop firm accounts and hope to pass and then get a payout from one or two of them. So if you spend 10k dollars on 10, 200k accounts and you're only able to pass even just one or two, and then you get like a 30k payout from that one account. That is one business model a lot of people use to trade prop firms. It is not advisable if you don't already know what you are doing. You have to first have a winning system. The idea is to just risk more and make more money because you are not risking your own capital. With $1,000, you can amplify your capital to $200,000. So that's a way of taking advantage of the capital the prop firms give you. But just because you have 20k dollars or 10k dollars to invest in prop firms does not mean you cannot still lose all that money without making any return on investment, because you have to know what you are doing. The other way is to build your prop portfolio. Some people, they work towards getting max funded. That is the best route for you. Just abandon all these flipping things, all these just leave all those things. So those are the two different ways, the two different business models. You cannot even attempt. There's one main person that trades like that. That's a business model he uses to trade prop firms, etc. But if you don't have a substantial amount of capital first, you cannot afford to trade the way he trades, because you're only seeing, when he passes the phase 1, phase 2, gets to this thing, gets the payout. But most of the time, you have to blow through multiple accounts before you get to, that one where because at the end of the day, the risk is unsustainable. That's just the truth, right? If they were trading with their own real capital, you cannot trade that way with your own personal money because it's not sustainable. But with prop firms, you can amplify your $1,000 and get a capital of $200,000 or $20,000, because on prop firms, you only have, access to 10% of the account. So let's just say practically, at least in the early stages, is $20,000. Then if you are able to make some profits and get a buffer, let's say you make like 30k profits ahead, then you can now start considering your account as $200,000. So the point I'm trying to make with this whole thing is that it's not always going to be smooth. Like I said, the strategy that took almost 2 months to make 10% made 5% in 1 day. I mean, if you have enough confidence from backtesting and all these kind of things, it will be easier for you to go through those times, because you would understand that this is normal. That is where a good psychology comes from. When you have that confidence in your system and you know the ins and outs, you know what to expect. You're not somebody that is coming expecting to flip $500 to $50,000. Your psychology can never be good, because what you are trying to achieve does not exist or is not sustainable, and you are yet to understand that, because there are people out there who have managed to convince you that this is how they are trading and this is how they are making money from Forex. That's why I'm explaining these things. Walk with this reality in mind. Once you understand everything I talked about in part 1, when you are approaching trading with prop firms and all these kind of things, you would have a realistic mindset. You will not be thinking that this thing you are passing through is because you are not a good trader. No, you can go 1-2 months in drawdown. It's very normal, even at the highest level. But because you don't understand it's normal, because some have managed to convince you that they're making thousands of percent in ROI, when you are going through all those things, you think it's because you don't know how to trade. What do you think knowing how to trade means? That you will just come and be pressing buy and sell and be packing all the money in the world? How is that sustainable? Where is the money coming from? Is it free money? Is it magic money? The reason why the prop firm business model is sustainable
is because most people who buy prop firm accounts fail. That is the reality. And remember, prop firms are only asking you to make 10%, or they didn't say make 100%, make 1000%. So if it were so easy, how come 90% are failing to make just 10% in phase 1 and 5% in phase 2? It's also one of the reasons I risk 0.5% on prop firms. That's why I don't understand tweets like this. On prop firms, it makes more sense for me to risk 0.5% because on prop firms, you only have access to 10% of the account. So on my 100K, I can't lose more than 10K. And if I'm risking 1% per trade, that means I have only 10 trades. A 14% win rate could mean 1.4 wins in 10 trades on average. That doesn't mean you can't go 10 trades without taking a loss, but on average, you get 1.4 wins in every 10 trades. Me knowing that, and with the nature of my strategy, I know 10 trades might not be enough. And it's not even because I can lose 10 trades in a row. In general, it just helps with psychology. If I was actually risking 1% on the prop firm account and I got -4 on the first 2 months, that would be -8%. But if I was risking 0.5%, that would only be -4%. So I know with enough trades, my edge is going to play out, which is why it makes sense for me to split my risk in half and double my chances of actually passing the prop firm challenges. So instead of getting 10 trades, I now have 20. Not because I'm necessarily going to lose 10, but even to help with my side. If I'm 4% in drawdown, I'm still quite confident because I know it's going to take another 12 trades and I might not make the full 10% or 5% in one trade, but at least I can get, you understand, it just doubles my chances. Now I have flipped the script. With this risk management plan, if I let this thing play out over a series of trades over a period of time, I have flipped the odds in my favor. I am now more likely to pass this prop firm challenge than not. That should be your goal as a Forex trader. Like I said, if the average profitable Forex trader makes anywhere from 20 to 50% ROI annually, why is it a surprise that it's a struggle to make 10% in 2 months? If it was so easy, why do 90% of people who buy prop firm challenges fail? Know what you are doing before you go and waste money on prop firms. I saw that trend a few weeks ago where somebody was like, I bought 7K 200K accounts, 10K 100K accounts, so and so 5K accounts. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, why are you just wasting money? If you had that 200K or 100K as real capital, you would have still blown the account because you are clearly not ready. Why are you wasting money on prop firms? I don't like this message of buy and fail and fail and fail and fail your prop firms. It's part of the story, it's part of the grind, it's part of the this, it's part of the... If you know makes sense to me, no makes sense to me. And just because someone has apparently been in the industry for a long time does not mean they actually know what they are talking about. These guys say rubbish all the time. It's not real, y'all. So if what he's saying does not make sense, if what this person is saying is not adding up, I will point it out. It's not making sense, bruv. So that is why, I don't know, every day I see tweets like this. How does the risk percentage negate the efficacy of my edge? How will you say, you can't say you know your edge well? I know my edge well. That is why I know if I use a 0.5% risk, I have doubled my chances of actually passing. All I would have to do is let it play out over a series of trades over a period of time. I know my edge. What does he think having an edge means? Over 90% are failing. How come out of the ones that pass, only 3% get payouts? How come all these superhumans never show up on the leaderboards or anywhere? Why are they not in the Robbins Cup? Why have they not made all the money in the world? The only time where risking 0.5% would not make sense is if you don't actually have an edge and then you are just risking 0.5%. Then it's like you are wasting your time. But then trading without an edge is a waste of time regardless of if you are risking 0.5% or 1% or whatever. It's the trading without an edge that's the waste of time, not risking 0.5%. If you don't actually have a winning system overall, then you are just going to blow your account much slower. But yeah, I just thought I should clarify this thing. I just want to reshape what your idea is of a profitable trader, because the idea most people have of what a profitable trader is a mythical being that does not exist. Yes, even the top hedge funds, the top profitable retail traders, etc., they can go 1 or 2 months, consecutive months, where they will be in slight drawdown, where they will end in losses. But over a series of trades, overall, when you check the full year, 6 months, overall, year after year after year after year, they can consistently make profits from the markets. That is what it means to be profitable. It's not that you are going to study Forex to a point where you are now predicting every move on the chart. Don't let anybody whine you. And it's not that if you carry $100 and give Mark Douglas, he will help you flip it. That is not how it works. Those people are not legends because they know how to flip or they've been flipping. They are managing millions and billions of dollars. That's why they are making millions and billions. Nobody is flipping anywhere. In your downtime, risk management is the only thing that will save you. Risk management is the number one priority because there's no strategy that survives without risk management. Then once you have your winning system, the only thing separating you from profitability will just be time. So it's up to you to have that patience and discipline. What will make the difference is how much capital you have. If you had like $1 million, now 5% will be $50,000. So in a month where you do 5%, that's $50,000. But somebody with a 100K account, that's only $5,000. Somebody with a $10,000 account, that's only $500. So the difference is the capital. Focus on building capital, not trying to find one holy grail. No strategy is the holy grail, as you've heard multiple times. But what these people are trying to sell to you is essentially the holy grail. What can be holier than the grail they are selling? I hope you just get the idea. So if you carry $100, give Mark Douglas or Warren Buffett, there's nothing they can do for you unless you want to wait 50 years or 20 something years. You need a substantial amount of capital. Those people are legends because when their billionaire friends give them money to manage in their hedge funds, etc., they know how to make huge returns or at least consistent profits over time. They have the ability to do that thing consistently, year after year after year after year. That is why they are remembered as legends. It's not because if you give them $1,000, they can make $100,000, or if you give them $20 or $100, they will help you flip it. Or if that is not what it means to be a profitable trader. That thing is unsustainable. That is the delusion they are using to scam a lot of you in this FXNG. There is no one way, but just know that the average profitable Forex trader will make anywhere from 20 to 50% ROI annually. Yes, you will have outliers. Yes, there will be good years where you do over 100%, 200%, 150%. Some years you might do only 20%. Some years you might do 80%. Some years you might do only 10% safe. That is the reality of Forex trading. Your own goal should be to get as much capital as possible to the point where your 10% will be a substantial amount of money. You understand? That is it.
Then you can also add mentorship. You can maybe make courses. That is where it makes sense to do all those things so that it can augment your income you are making from the Forex trading itself. But what I don't want to see is somebody selling unrealistic expectations and just false hope. How can you tell me that you are as good as that and you want to do mentorship? Which money are you going to make from that mentorship that you cannot make times 100 on your own? Are you now trying to convince me now that you are so good, you just love mankind, that on your own you can make all these thousands of percent in ROI, but for some reason you just want to do mentorship? How much are you going to make from that mentorship? Yes, they make a lot of money from mentorship, but that money is a lot to them because they are not who they claim to be in the first place. If you make 600K from mentorship, if you are somebody that can be making 3,900% ROI week after week, that money will be nothing to you. It will not be worth the effort. But every day they are updating Instagram, Telegram, Twitter, YouTube, posting, always trying to get your attention, posting crazy things they are doing, posting, just to prepare you for something they are going to sell at the end of the day. And that something they are going to sell is actually the real source of income. But you don't understand it because they've managed to brainwash you for all the months prior to that you now believe that, oh, this person is actually as good as they claim to be and they just want to help me and do mentorship. Why would such a person want to do mentorship? What? Explain it to me. How do you justify it in your mind? How does it make sense in your mind? That's what I don't understand.
Also, I'm sure there are a lot of people who knew a lot of the things I already said, but they don't have 100% conviction. And I feel like not having 100% conviction about this issue is what is holding a lot of people back from becoming profitable. They can tell, this one is probably not real. This one is probably fake. They've not fully decided yet. They can't tell. They can't just point to this thing and say, this thing is not profitable. They can't look at Kenne posting winning trades and say, if it's the same Kenne that tweets this kind of atrocious, then you cannot tell me that this is the same person that is making all these profits from Forex, because they clearly do not have a proper understanding of Forex trading. It sounds crazy. I don't know how this guy has managed to parade himself for all these years. This Forex thing you are doing now, there's the show business side. I've never said anybody doing mentorship is a scammer automatically. With everything I've explained, you see how the 20 to 50% ROI on average can be, and you see why it makes sense for that person who actually has the skill. You see why it then makes sense for that person to say, oh yeah, come, I can teach you this thing for $200. Not because $200 is big money to me on its own, but because when I collect $200 from 1,000 people, that becomes $200,000. When I collect $200 from 2,000 people, that becomes $400,000. And then I can add that $400,000 to the profits I'm making. Whether the person is making more money from mentorship than Forex itself, it doesn't matter, as long as the person actually has the skill and the person actually has a proper understanding. Then it becomes an exchange of value. The mentor is putting you
you on the right track to achieve profitability, and you and so and so thousand others have come together to make the fee you are paying worth it for the mentor. But when this person is not who they claim to be, that is when it becomes a problem. See this guy now, she can trade but to teach. He does not even know what is going on yet. He has not yet realized what has happened to him. That's one of the most dangerous parts of all these things. He almost cannot doubt, or even if he doubts, he most likely will not be able to say it out because of the way these people have been conditioned. Everybody in the comment section is always hyping this person up. Everybody's always saying good things about this person. The moment you now come out and say something contrary, you look like the enemy, because those ones have also been brainwashed by that main person, and they have to believe in that person. Many of these people have been chasing this dream. They've been chasing this fairy tale, this delusion for a very long time. So anything that would even slightly suggest that what they are aiming for is impractical, is unsustainable, etc., they will do everything possible to shun you and shut you down, because having to deal with that reality might be too much for them. They cannot consider that, are you trying to tell me that you mean I've been lying to myself all this while, or you mean I've been getting played all this while? That is the hardest part for many people. So they can go on for years without even realizing what is going on. This guy now, if he goes there and he starts dragging this girl, all those brainwashed minions will gather him and say, hey, look, blah, 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 blah. Why are you doing this? This is why you never grow. This is why you never progress. This is why this is why that. Expand your mind, close your mind, open your mind, seek knowledge. You know, all this rubbish you people always say to justify why you want to continue believing in something that is obviously a scam. It's deep, but that's why I'm here. He can go on for another 4-5 years before understanding 20% of all the things I've explained in this video. He will just be jumping from one mentor to another mentor, going to work just to keep throwing it at every poser and mentor that comes out. So most people would need a mentor, like 99% of Forex traders. But like I said, there are a lot of people like Haji now claiming to make 6 figures every week. Back then, when this guy used to run ads, doing miracles left and right, you see multiple positions open with multiple 6 figures. There was even one time he said Deriv banned him because when he joined Deriv, he was packing money up and down. He was making so much money and shit. Then Deriv banned him. They sent him an email like, bro, you are too profitable. We have banned you. I was just seeing this guy's ads. I'm like, who be this one? Like, does this guy think, like, who is this guy lying to? But, you know, surprisingly, or should I not be surprised at this point, FXNG fell for the guy. How do I say it? I'm like, God, oh my goodness, man. So I've told you now, that's the best route for you. You are going to see a lot of things online that will want to shift your eyes from all these things. This thing is an industry. Most of the things you see is just WWE. It's just acting. This FXAlexG challenge where he helped somebody turn $1,000 to $100,000. That one safe now promotion. It's just a paid actor. It can be one of FXAlexG's workers' younger brother or something like that. They'll just call the guy. He'll sign an NDA, which is a non-disclosure agreement, which prohibits him from discussing the terms of agreement or whatever it is they agreed on. Otherwise, he will face legal consequences, blah blah blah. He will sign it. They will tell him, okay, you just play the role of this guy, and then they will run the thing the same way they did the $100 to $1 million challenge, and you guys will continue hyping that con man up and down. It's just promo. It has to remain in your faces all day, every day. There's a difference between smart business moves and you just being a thief. How can you advertise a system or a strategy that could not make even 1% in 5 whole months as something that you use to make 999,900% ROI in 3 months, and you say you are not a thief? What kind of marketing is that? What kind of strategy is that one? It might sound brutal, but start working with that reality in mind. All these things people are chasing is why some people will come 6-7 months, they're already making a lot of progress. This thing is a business. They have first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter in a year. Some will use first quarter and second quarter to brainwash you, then they release a course in the third quarter. Some will do first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, brainwash you, sell to you in the fourth quarter. Like I said, doing mentorship is not inherently bad, but I know that what many of these people are trying to sell to you does not exist.
All right, if you're watching this right now, that means you've taken the first and honestly the only step towards your financial freedom, paying your $3,000. You may be asking, what's the next step? Well, the next step is to introduce 7 other people to this exact same course. That's right, 7, not 6, not 5, but 7. Once they pay their $3,000, you'd unlock level 2 of the program, where you can also start selling your own 3,000 course to other people. And that, my friend, is how wealth is built. I'm telling you, man, you've made the right decision coming here today. This is the same formula I use, the same formula everyone in the industry uses, and I'm glad you're here.
If you are new to Forex, you are not in a position to argue. You cannot tell who is legit or who is not legit. Anybody can bungle up a bunch of information from anywhere to sound as if they know what they are talking about. But as a beginner, how can you know that this person knows what they are talking about or does not know what they are talking about, or that what this person is saying is true or is not true, or what this person is saying makes sense or doesn't make sense? Once they say something, you hear, oh, this person has been in the industry for so and so years. That means everything that comes out of their mouth now is correct and is true. And you must swallow everything when like 90% is filled with rubbish advice and just something born out of a primitive understanding of Forex, or it is done with the goal of brainwashing you with unrealistic expectations to get you to pay them for this or that. So if you are a beginner, you're not in a position to be arguing. So the best thing you can do so that you don't spend the next several months or years of your life chasing a lie, go and tell any of these people that I called out in this video to come and take up the challenge. Let them prove me wrong. You can imagine how foolish I would look if any of these people can just come out and say, oh yeah, make everybody see you. I've sent Jaro my investor login. In case he checks it and he sees that I am really who I claim to be, but he doesn't post it to avoid being disgraced. I'm announcing it on my story now. I've sent Jaro my login. Do it like that. That's all it will take. So if you are not yet profitable, if you are still having doubts about this and that, all it will take is for that person you believe is legit to just come out and prove me wrong. But I've told you, anybody trying to sell you that dream of flipping is the biggest thief in Nigeria right now. Dakpo Willis is managing $400 million. He can afford to lose $24 million on one trade, but he's selling a course of $150. Like, what is going on here? Like, these guys don't even rate you guys at all. I mean, we're not in 2019 anymore now. I don't know, man. I already made a tweet about it, but the whole point of that $24 million trade with my stop loss of $24 million was to promote his course. He had to do something crazy ahead of when his course would come out. Had that trade gone well, we would have not heard anything again in this world besides how Dakpo Willis was so bold and brave, so knowledgeable about the Forex market that he could risk $24 million on a trade and it went well. Therefore, he must know exactly what he's talking about, blah, blah, blah. But as we all saw, it was a public disgrace. He first entered the trade, he was going towards his stop loss. Then later on, he posted and said, I increased my stop loss, or I adjusted the stop loss, and he was adjusting stop loss. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, I was filled with joy on that day, because had that thing gone well, we would not have heard anything in this life again. He would have created a new legend, a new folklore about the time Dakpo Willis risked $24 million on a trade. But oh, good gracious, faith had it that he was going to chop SL in the most disgraceful way possible. Imagine adjusting stop loss. He was increasing stop loss like a newbie. When somebody is so focused on the outcome of one trade, that's how I know that they don't know what they are doing at all. Because if you have an edge, you understand that it's not about one trade. And just because the person got a win doesn't actually mean they are good. It's just confirmation bias doing all the work for you. You are just seeing what you want to see. But if you would just pause and be objective, look at this thing objectively, calculate this thing objectively, look at all their claims, analyze their results objectively, you will see through all this BS. Even if that trade had hit TP, it still doesn't mean anything. And I'm very happy it did not hit TP. So if it had hit TP now, another lie that we'll have to spend the next 400 years trying to debunk, because some brainwashed people will continue reiterating it, repeating it over and over and over again until it becomes more or less true. That would have been the result of that trade hitting TP. But I'm very happy it chopped SL. It's not about what happens on one trade. So anybody you see that one trade is something that's going to determine whether they are this or that or something, that person does not understand how this thing works. An edge plays out over a series of trades over a period of time. You have your set of rules, you have your stop loss, you have your this, you have your that. One trade is nothing in the sea of trades that you're going to take over the course of your career. So if one trade can make or break you, or one trade is shaking you when price is approaching your stop loss, then you are not ready yet, and there's something you are doing wrong. Why price will it go my SL, I will come the shake? Am I expecting that I will never lose? No, I've taken all those things into consideration. I have prepared ahead of time, long ahead of time. I know that this one trade is just one trade in the sea of trades I'm going to take. So if one one trade is still affecting you, is either you are undercapitalized and you are risking too much, or you are just not ready yet. How will your psychology be good? That's how they keep gaslighting you guys with this psychology thing. How would your psychology be good when they've not taught you anything useful? A good psychology comes from knowing what you are doing. Obviously, there will still be times where you have to remain disciplined, etc. But if you are not there, if you don't know this first step yet, if you still have that mindset of $100 to $10,000, flipping this, flipping that, you still believe all these fairy tales these people keep brainwashing you guys with, your psychology can never be good, because you don't even know what to expect as somebody who wants to become a profitable trader. You don't even know what it means to be a profitable trader. Your understanding of what it means to be a profitable trader is based on a lie. So no matter what you do, you would always fail. How would your psychology be good? You've studied everything they've told you to study. You've taken all their lessons. You've done everything exactly how they told you to do it. But every time you trade, every time you risk your last $400, your last $200, your last $100, it always ends in tears. Even after all the flipping you've done from time to time here and there, you still have nothing to show for it. How would you have a good psychology? Where is the good psychology going to come from? Is the psychology that when price is going to hit your stop loss, you bone face, as if the market knows that there's somebody there boning his face, and because you are not shaking, the market will reverse and do what you want it to do? Is that what it means to have a good psychology? It's not because I've mastered the market so much and I know that price cannot hit my stop loss. No, price can hit your stop loss anytime. The only thing you have control over is how much you are going to risk on every trade. Not that you enter the trade risking 40% of your account because one mentor has shown you one setup, or one Willy's zone is the new one is calling it now, Willy's zone. They show you the Willy zone. Your $400, you now risk $250 out of your $400, and price is going to hit your SL. How won't you be twerking there? What were you expecting? That you will never hit stop loss because you studied something from somebody? If there's anybody that can trade without hitting stop loss, will that person not have made all the money in the world? It's very normal to have a losing trade, but the way this guy planned to position himself was that he was one god of this and god of that. The whole point was to just promote his course that was about to come out. Now that the thing hit stop loss, he has been telling different stories about how the institutions wanted to institutionalize his whatever, and how they attacked and how they made him hit stop loss, as if it's a big deal to take one losing trade or to have one losing trade. Bro has even gone as far as trying to rewrite history. How I almost lost $24 million. Almost. Had that trade gone well now, if I don't plaster them everywhere, it would be entrenched in our FXNG lore, the history of FXNG, that there was a time Dr. Willis risked $24 million on one trade. Something that never happened to begin with, something that was just a fabrication, a figment of somebody's imagination. By the end of this year now, we will hear that he made $86 billion, just like he made $92 million last year. It's all WWE stuff. He did Forex Mastery 1. Is it that one is no more working again? Abi, what happened now? Like, what is he doing Forex Mastery 2? He wants you to master it twice. The first mastering you did was not complete. Now he wants you to master it again. I've told you, this thing is a business. I'm more concerned about you wasting the next several years of your life chasing a fairy tale. So I'm not saying it's impossible for somebody to manage $400 million, but for Dr. Willis, it's the lack of evidence. The only thing we see is his trading view chart. We just keep hearing figures from his mouth. All these guys are trying to outdo themselves, but he just took the whole thing too far. He has inflated the whole thing so much that nothing he does now makes sense. 300 million, 400 million, it doesn't make sense. All they did is just to collect that $150, $200 from 1,000, 2,000, 10,000, 20,000, however many people they can reach. So whatever that person has to do to present themselves as somebody who is a million times better than they actually are, that's if they're actually profitable in the first place, that person will do that thing just to keep you hooked. It's all a show. The average profitable trader makes anywhere from 20 to 50% ROI annually. Will there be outliers? Yes. Can you do more than that? Yes. Mentorship per se is not inherently bad, but people are taking advantage just so they can collect that $100, $200, $300, $2,000 to provide zero value. There is no statistical edge to any of these ICT concepts. It just depends on how the trader incorporates the ideas, incorporates the whatever into their own strategy, into their edge, into their system. But just know that the average profitable trader, regardless of whether it's ICT or whatever, will make 20 to 50% ROI annually. So don't think because you are learning ICT, you are going to turn $1,000 to $100,000 in 1 month or in 1 year safe. ICT has been claiming that he's going to win the Robbins Cup for the last 800 years now. Have you ever seen ICT's name on any of the leaderboards? If ICT was 10% as
good as he claims to be, he would be on that leaderboard for eternity. His name will never leave that number one spot if he was just 10% as good as he claims to be.
Yes, it's very normal to lose trades. Yes, the average profitable trader makes 20 to 50% ROI annually. Stop poisoning people's minds with unrealistic expectations because of your own selfish interest, just because of the $200 you want to collect from them. You will collect that money, charge money for signal groups that you know nothing will come out of, making these same people lose more money. That is when your mentorship becomes a problem, because you are just robbing these guys. It is unethical. The industry is already becoming something else. Ola of Lagos or Egungu of Lagos, they are on to just collect money from any foul and start claiming one person has AI bots that made $300 billion quintillion dollars. All these guys, I don't know anything about Forex. They just want to collect commission fee from expert option and all these things. That's why everybody on TikTok now is a trading expert. Everybody just loves you so much now that they want to show you their updates that they've used to make all the money in the world. Guy, isn't that wonderful? Come and sign up to expert option with my link. No, they won't even say it like that. They will say, come to my Telegram channel and take free signals. When you enter that Telegram channel, the main end goal is to get you to sign up to expert option or whatever rubbish they're advertising with their referral link. Once you sign up, any money the broker is making off you, they will be getting their own commission. All those signals, one guy messaged me, hey boss, your signal too short. I do all these guys, you know the people now on TikTok, all these rubbish. Their own is to just continue sending signals and gaslighting you that their strategy is working, showing you selective wins when they are running their ads. You go and enter there. Show me one person now, since all these expert option people have been running their ads on TikTok, that has made anything substantial, that has turned $500 to anything to $50,000 or however much they want you to believe you can do with small capital. You have to understand, bro, this is a dog eats dog world. Let's say I go talk again. I've said my best. Just work with this reality in mind. You might not have the capital, but trying to flip is not the solution. It's better you save up, buy like a 50k prop account, or unless you don't have any other option, maybe that's why you can be doing all this 5k, all this 20k, all this 10k. I don't know what your financial capacity is, but start working towards that thing. Start listening to real experts. Stop letting all these small boys be playing with your intelligence as if you people are monkeys or something. Start working towards that goal. That 5k now, the effort. I mean, that's what I said, unless you cannot help it, because the effort to pass phase 1, phase 2 is like, if it's possible for you to just gather money and buy like a 20k, that one would be much better than wasting all that effort trying to pass phase 1 and phase 2. Because my own goal is to, encourage you to trade in a way that is sustainable. Many people don't have the money to gamble and buy multiple prop firm accounts and try and pass as many as possible. That one is another business model, right? There are people that run it like that. They can have like 20k capital. They know how to trade. They have one strategy, but then they are going to risk more than usual. And of course, they are going to blow accounts most of the time. But the goal is to pass as many prop accounts, because if they can get 1 or 2 payouts, for example, you spend $8,000 buying 8 200k accounts, you're able to pass like even just 2 or 1, and then you make like a 30k payout. So that one is another business model. But before you get there, you have to grow first. You have to do the normal trading first. You cannot not even be part of the average, and you're now aiming for being the outlier. Start working towards growing your prop firm capital across multiple prop firms. Buy the first one, get a couple of payouts, invest it in more prop firms. Just build your capital. When you build enough, you can do all these things in 6 months. So it doesn't even have to take 1,000 years or 4 years or 8 years or 800 years. You understand? It can happen very quickly too. So I don't want you to now start getting depressed that, this thing is going to take me another 800 million years. Maybe you've not just had access to the right information yet. That is why is that hard for you. Forex is always going to be hard, like I've said, but it becomes easy once you understand that it is supposed to be hard. That hard is why it is a business in the first place. That hard is why it is possible to actually make money. If it was so easy, how is the economy of the Forex industry supposed to be sustained? That's how I laugh at these guys who just be making these ridiculous claims. Do you think Deriv would make a system, an algorithm so porous that somebody would just come and be flipping $200 to $10,000 every day or every week and they will not have gone bankrupt? It's just an illusion. They're just whining you with all these things. You go, you are on air to, like, this is the real world, bro. This is not a movie. Everybody wants something. Yes, that's very fantastic. Everybody wants something. It just depends on how you get it. If I'm offering value through my videos, I know I've archived most of them now, but if I'm offering value through my videos, people are finding my videos interesting, and because of that, they decide to follow me and share or whatever. That's good. That's normal. That's life. That's how life works. It's an exchange of value. Go and create something of value and stop deceiving people. Nobody is here to work for you. Nobody is your slave. That everybody they should go and work. Your own is just to be whining them. Then you drop costs. For that your cost now, if you make like 300k, 400k, 500k, that is the most money they would have made down here. But in your head, you are thinking this person is packing 10 million every 6 months. Now all those money where they don't prepare, they don't prep una for like 3-6 months, brainwash una very well. It's that money they make from there that's sustaining their, at least it will be the biggest chunk of their income. They have commissions from affiliates, all these things will not be bad per se, but it's just the way you guys go about this whole thing that is unethical. So you that knows you have something to lose, you know you are in a tight position financially, or you have the money, because it's not just about having money. Even if you have the money, you can still fall into the wrong hands. You can still lose a lot of money. Look at McAngel. The only reason why many of you have not lost $3.6 million is because you don't have $3.6 million. If you had $3.6 million with the mentality you have towards trading, you would have lost that money too. Because you'll be thinking, because you have $3.6 million, you should come and use that money to make $100 million in 1 week or in 1 month. That's the mentality you will take to handle $3 million capital. Because all these people have been lying to you and lying to you that they have one secret. It is not real. So just because you have capital doesn't mean you cannot still see shaggy. You have to know what you are doing first before you jump into the market. Hashtag pray for Don Jazzy. So you have something to lose now. We have given you reasons why these things don't make sense. You have something to lose now. Before you pay for money to somebody for something, know what you are getting in return. Stop worshiping people as if you are a slave to them. I hope this changes the trajectory of your Forex career. If you have a couple $1,000, plan well. If you have little capital, try and save up. Stop trying to flip. It's not going to work. It's a trap. It's unsustainable. It will leave you in misery. Just dead that mindset now. You can flip when you've made your first 10k from a prop firm. Then you can just remove 500 and say, okay, let me try and flip this 500 for fun. Not that you will carry 500 that is 100% of your own capital and be trying to flip. And you are still wondering what is happening. Why are you not profitable? Because one person has lied to you that they are flipping and flipping all day, all night. Dead that mindset now. Come back into the real world and start trying to build with this reality in mind. Waiting, I don't tell you now the full 100% reality. And like I've said, you know how foolish I will look if all the people I called in this video can just come out and prove me wrong. But you will see now, 10 years from now, none of them will come out and take up that challenge. So know what thing they do.